Hello, welcome back to Fallout 76. Every so often I see people commenting on Fallout First and how it's pay to win. That kind of perspective seems to come from people who may have played the game way back in the day, but haven't really played it for very long. So let me address a question that I think many people may have. Do you need Fallout First to enjoy Fallout 76? Obviously you do get benefits from paying the monthly subscription. Otherwise, why would anybody get it? But is it essential to the experience? My perspective on the question is that I personally have never used Fallout First. The only exceptions are when it was on a free trial twice. So personally, my answer is no, but I'm not you. So let me break it down so you can see whether it's worth it for your particular case. I think that as someone who hasn't relied on Fallout First, I can tell you what the real benefits are. Okay, let's say you do subscribe. What does it give you? You get two new types of stash boxes. The scrap box allows you to store unlimited amounts of junk. The second is the ammo box. That allows you to store unlimited amounts of ammo. To complement those boxes, you get the survival tent. It's a mini camp that you can plop down wherever you want and gives you ready access to your storage. Depending on the skin you're using, you get extra benefits like a bed, cooking station, and some workbenches. You can also play in a private world, which is the same as a normal world, but with only players you invite to the world, and custom worlds, which are worlds where you can tweak the rules as you please. The subscription also automatically gives you access to Fallout First exclusive season items, and Atom Store items, plus 1650 atoms per month to spend. There's also a few free icons, emotes, and the Ranger Armor costume that you get as a bonus. So that's a listing of the benefits on paper. But let's look at how it actually influences your gameplay. Whenever I play games, my motto is something along the lines of no loot left behind. I'm the guy who finishes games with stacks of unused healing items and buffing potions. Yeah, I'm that guy. The guy who saves just in case you might need them. Even now, my Fallout 76 character has hundreds of psycho tats and psycho buffs that I've just picked up and never used. And Nuka-Colas, I've got enough to give a small country diabetes. In Fallout 4, I'm the guy who's abusing the companion unlimited carry feature. And no, don't call it a bug. It's not a bug, it's a feature, thank you very much. Fallout First is literally designed to entice Kleptomaniacs to subscribe with its unlimited scrap and ammo boxes. So you can theoretically collect and store all the scrap from every location you visit. This synergizes particularly well with the tent, because it allows you to clear a location, call your tents just outside, and store all your new scrap and ammo. No need to trek over to your camp or another location with those storage boxes. And if you're looking for rare items or things that are in demand, you can also play in a private world. Anything you do there carries over to your normal play, so you can harvest as much as you like, knowing that nobody else can take it. Being able to take over all the workshops in a map can give you quite a few resources. I was lucky enough to get a Fallout First trial during an alien invasion, and that gave me tons of circuits. I also did Earl whenever he came up, and got all the screws that I'll need for a long time. And that's not counting the tens of thousands of steel and other common materials I just picked up while the trials were on. But is that actually essential? It is convenient to have the materials at hand when you're crafting a lot of new weapons or armor. But as you can see from my masses of materials, once you've got your endgame armor and weapons, you don't really end up using the things in your scrap box. That includes repairs. Power armor simply doesn't need repairs, and I can just use improved repair kits from boss battles to fix my other gear when it breaks. As you can see, I'm not at risk of running out anytime soon. So after a time, you don't need much in the way of materials for just playing. And even if you do need scrap, you can repeatedly loot the same spot over and over again by server hopping. Getting junk is not an issue. People who do a lot of camp building will no doubt find it convenient to have a large variety of materials on hand. But again, how often do you find yourself doing lots of camp building? You start with 2 camp slots by default, and you can spend atoms to get more. So let's say you have 5 camps. Even if you build a lot in each camp, you still won't be using that much in the way of materials. For most materials, you can just go collecting them when you need them. The one big exception is stable flux. Each one takes up one capacity in your stash box, so if you collect more than a few, you can quickly use up all your free space. Because of that, I personally tend to use up my flux almost as soon as I get it. But if you're one of those players that does a lot of flux harvesting and crafting with flux, then the scrap box will be very helpful. But aside from very specific situations, most of the time the scrap box just isn't essential. It's no doubt very useful and convenient, but not something that you must have in order to enjoy the game. Pretty much the same goes with the ammo box, especially now that contextual ammo drops much more often. Most of the time you'll find that you have more than enough ammo for your weapons, so storing extra is not that beneficial. Or alternatively, you're struggling to get ammo, in which case you don't have any to store anyway. In either case, you don't get much use for the ammo box. A big exception is explosives like mini nukes and missiles. You don't often end up using them, especially because commando and heavy weapons are already pretty powerful, and especially during public events when it's considered bad form to spam nukes. I usually throw them away because they're too heavy to carry and I don't have the stash space. I ended up storing a bunch during the last Fallout first trial, but to be honest, I can't see myself using them anytime soon. And no, I didn't deliberately go for 666 mini nukes, it just ended up that way. It's definitely very handy for looters to have both scrap boxes, the tent, and a private world, but it's not essential. Quite a lot of daily challenges and special events tend to involve getting some item or scrapping for some material. The spring cleaning event not too long ago is a perfect example of that. And just like you saw then, because everybody is looking for the same items, they can end up being a bit hard to find. But if you can fire up a private world, then you're guaranteed to be able to find items without having to compete with everybody else. Need brooms? They're right where they're supposed to be. You're playing in a pristine world. Everything is literally where it's supposed to be. The same goes for materials. A lot of challenges involve scrapping for a material, and if you have Fallout first, you can simply bulk craft an item, break it down, and put it right back into the scrap box. Easiest way to get a challenge, and it only costs you a bit of plastic. But lately the devs seem to have caught on, and a lot of the challenges are for scrapping materials that can't be bulked up. That situation is also easier with Fallout first, because again, you get a pristine world to loot. But is it essential? Generally speaking, no. Pretty much every challenge can be done without Fallout first. It's very convenient to have things like private worlds, but they're not essential by any means. If you look at the Atom store and the season board, you'll see that some items are Fallout first exclusive. That means that the only way to access them is to have Fallout first privileges. When the scoreboard was in place, the Fallout first items were absolutely exclusive to subscribers. But with the new season format, you can spend 1500 atoms to unlock the exclusive items. And because the Fallout first items includes atoms, you end up getting them back if you progress far enough, so it ends up being practically free. But for the Atom store items, you must have the subscription. Some of them can be pretty nice, so for those players who tend to collect everything, then this is a definite benefit. The fact that you also get monthly atoms means that you can get more things in the store. And your scrap box means that you can build more of those camp items. There's a definite synergy when it comes to collectors and people who like building unique camps. But camp building is not essential, nor does it matter if you have a flashy costume. At best you're doing it because you want a certain look or you want to build a nice home. It's perfectly fine if you just have a bunch of workbenches and resource collectors. A pretty camp doesn't make you play better. So again, it's nice to be able to access a bunch of unique items, but it's not essential. So let me go back to the original question I wanted to answer. Is it essential to have Fallout first? I think that it's pretty obvious by now that it's not. It's handy and convenient, but it's not something that you must have in order to enjoy the game. Don't misunderstand me, this is actually a good thing for Fallout 76. It means that new players have a low barrier of entry. They can enjoy the game just as much as someone who's spending loads on the game. That encourages them to stay around, and that grows the player base. Some of those players in turn will find that the convenience of Fallout first is worth their subscription, which in turn grows the revenue of the game. It's exactly the type of virtuous cycle that you want, and it's exactly what leads to a thriving game. So if any designer or manager from Bethesda happens to see this, don't be tempted to make Fallout First anything more than it is. Keep it at the level of being convenient, but not essential. The worst thing you could possibly do is change the game to make Fallout First more pay to win. That would lead to disillusionment from the existing player base. A lot of new players wouldn't get to the point that they have enough of an emotional investment in the game to get a subscription for it. It might lead to a short-term growth in revenue from Fallout First, but it would also pigeonhole the game and put it on a path to decline. As it happens, just today I saw news of Rainbow Six adding more monetization, and we can see the disillusionment firsthand. Fallout First isn't exactly the place it needs to be. It's convenient but not essential, and I would hope that that mindset is kept in mind in any future changes to the game. Thanks for watching all the way to the end. Let me know what you thought about it in the comments. Feel free to leave a like, subscribe and hit the bell button to be notified when new videos come out. See you soon.